Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here. In this video we're talking about PCSX2, Sega Saturn, Lakka, as well as Dolphin. Let's get started. Alright, we'll kick things off here talking about PlayStation 2 emulation on PC with PCSX2. This news might be good for some people, but horrible for others. PCSX2 has just removed 32-bit support. Now, the current production version of PCSX2 is version 1.6, and this does support 32-bit. But versions moving forward will no longer support 32-bit. We can see that here on the PCSX2 nightly build page, where the latest build, as of the time of filming here, removes 32-bit code from the project. Now, this news is kind of bittersweet. I'd argue much more sweet than bitter, but at the same time here, if you were using a 32-bit version of PCSX2, version 1.6 is pretty much as good as it's gonna get. The sweet part about this is that they can focus on the 64-bit version and are no longer held back by 32-bit. From my understanding here, the PCSX2 development team might have a few tricks up their sleeve for the 64-bit performance, so I can't wait to see what comes next. For those of you who relied on the 32-bit version, you might not be too happy about this news, but future you will probably be pretty excited about this. It's a small sacrifice that the PCSX2 had to make in order to achieve better greatness. Next up, we're talking about 80s and 90s PC emulation on PC with 86box. 86box is a fork of PCEM if you're familiar with it, and it just got an update. 86box is free and open source, and they're now on version 3.3. In version 3.3, one of the big things here is they've added OpenGL 3.0 core renderer to Linux. On top of that, they've added in a Unix domain socket API and preliminary Haiku host support. If we take a look down the list here, they've also fixed application and system crashes when emulating MMX-capable CPUs on ARM hosts. And last up here, they've changed the audio backend to Xaudio 2 on both Windows and Linux to hopefully fix some sound issues. Moving down the list, and they've also made some UI improvements, and they've added in some machines and hardware. So I am familiar with this one here, the Compact Desk Pro 386. I'm not as familiar with these other two though. If you are, let me know in the comments below. The Vendex Headstart Turbo 888 XT, as well as the ZNIX PC 1600. Moving on now, and we're talking about Sega Saturn emulation, both on PC and on Android. It just got a big update. As always, I will leave a link to the improvements in the description below, so feel free to check them out. Sega Saturn emulation now has an SH2 cache. At a really high level here, it's a little bit more taxing on your CPU, but the trade-off is emulation performance, accuracy, and stability. There's a pretty awesome video. It's only 55 seconds on YouTube. I'll link to it in the description below as well separately so you can check it out. It shows you the before and after without the SH2 cache and with it. Now on Android, this emulator is known as Yaba Sanshiro 2. There's a free and a paid version. If you have either versions, make sure to go to the Google Play page, scroll down to where it says beta test and opt into it. That way you get the latest version. Moving on, and we're talking about Lakka and the Raspberry Pi. Lakka is now available straight from the Raspberry Pi Imager. At the time of filming, the latest version of the Raspberry Pi Imager is version 1.7.1. If I go to choose OS here and then go down to emulation and game OS, we can now see Lakka right at the bottom of the list. If you are a fan of RetroPie, I might recommend checking out Lakka potentially on a separate SD card just to see how it performs for you. Last up here, we're talking about GameCube and Wii emulation on Android with Dolphin MMJR. Dolphin MMJR is not available in the Google Play Store. It's a fork of Dolphin, only available on GitHub. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. Feel free to check it out. It's designed for emulation performance as opposed to emulation accuracy. A few shortcuts have been made in order to speed up some games. The MMJ stands for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano, and the R stands for Revamp. Now it appears as if all of the forks have kind of been consolidated into one emulator. Dolphin MMJ and Dolphin MMJR2, the old one and the new one, have all been merged into Dolphin MMJR. It appears as if Bankai Master, Lumens, and Gamer64 have all teamed up here to try to make the best fork possible. And I am all for this. It's gonna end a lot of confusion. It's just gonna be one fork to kind of rule them all. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. Let me know your thoughts on anything we talked about today in the comments below. I'm assuming PCSX2 dropping 32-bit support might be a bit of a hot topic. Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.